And is there any reason why you think it's been, basketball your whole life?
I just fell in love with basketball. Started winning state championships and building these relationships. That's when I knew I took the right route and I followed my passion and what I love to do.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is the Eric Barber here, and I'm joined with the incredibly passionate storyteller and all around athlete as well, coach Rob Murphy. How are we doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show. I greatly appreciate it. You're doing great things, and I love to be a part of great things with great people. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate that, no doubt about it, man. And we are actually on the heels of your premiere of the film Deep, The Life of Rob Murphy, right?
Yes, sir.
So how about we go ahead and talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm excited about the project Deep. It's been a long time coming. It started with my book that was published in 2019. Had such a incredible life with a lot of ups and downs, a lot of obstacles, had to overcome and be resilient in a lot of situations from my childhood through college, starting my professional career. And I, decided, to write a book about it because I was passionate about young men that was in my situation, seeing, I guess, outside of their environment. And, your environment doesn't, define who you are, and it's light at the end of the tunnel if you do the right things, make great decisions. So it started with my book, and then now we're able to put it on the big screen.
Okay, yeah, man, that's awesome. And I we're actually at your residence right now, and I'm just looking around, and I see you got all these books all over the place. So I can tell you're quite the reader, right? So really, have you just always had a love of books that got you to write this story?
Yeah, well, growing up, I was always intrigued with movies and TV. That was kind of my outlet outside of sports. Always enjoyed going to the movies as a kid. A lot of movies, captivated me, being in the theater, like Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
One of my favorite actors.
Classic.
Obviously, we had the same last name. He visited my high school at one point. He wore a Mumford High School shirt in Beverly Hills Cop. So I always followed Eddie Murphy, and his talents were intriguing. So it wasn't something that I wanted to do at that point, because I was growing up and sports was, took precedence over my life. But at the same time, when I wrote the book and I started to get contacted about bringing it to the screen, I was intrigued. I had the time. I always wanted to bring the book to the big screen, so I was able to hook up with Dennis Reed and DR2 Productions to make it happen.
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, that's incredible, for one. And people in Detroit, like, they love Dennis. Like, I was just telling a bunch of people, like, there's no film that's made in Detroit that, even if he's not producing or directing, like, there's no way he doesn't have his hands, tied to it at least a little bit,
Yeah.
So what was that experience like working with Dennis Reed and, his production company?
Well, it was unbelievable, to be honest, to learn a lot behind the scenes. A lot more goes into movie making than one would realize. So when we connected, obviously I had been in talks with people before COVID, but those talks got shut down. I had a production company call me out of Houston, then another one in LA. But I ran into Dennis Reed. We had mutual friends. We knew of each other, and we met. And I kind of brought the idea of him bringing my book to the screen. We started to talk. Good talks led to great talks. I was able to get in his office, walk the studios and kind of let him know my vision. And he understood how he could bring that vision together. So, we came up with an idea to get it done. And I was truly impressed, with the process, starting with the casting, because that's the most important thing. I'll back that up. The writing, all right, the script. Once that was done, we went into casting, and that's when I really, saw how they worked behind the scenes to make the characters match up. And we have some high-level actors here in Detroit, too. It's a lot of talent. But they did a great job of casting and matching characters. And then it went to, the production of it. And I enjoyed being behind the scenes and watch it, all come together.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's no doubt. And I was looking just at that trailer, man, and it definitely got us moving. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, well, it hits, the trailer hit every aspect, of my life from, my childhood as a youngster, which I think we started that at 6 or 7 in the script. and then you go into the teenage years, and you get to college, and then you start your professional career. And I think my professional career is very intriguing and interesting because I get a lot of questions about, well, how did you become a college coach? Or how did you build a state championship team at the high school level? How did you get to Syracuse University? Or how did you become a Division I head coach? How did you work get to work in the NBA at such a high level? And I think we touch on all those aspects to give the viewers, an understanding of how I got there, the behind the scenes of what goes on during those times. But it's a very captivating film, very riveting. It's exciting and has some drama. And it also has, it shows the obstacles, the ups, the downs. And I'm excited for people to see it, and it all came together in great fashion.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And, the film and the book, they're both titled Deep, right? So where does that name come from?
Yeah, so during the writing process, I was trying to think of different names for my book, Rags to Riches, and all of these names, kept coming up. But as I was, jogging that memory and getting into different chapters, as I, looked back at my life, I kept saying, man, this is deep, because it was therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Growing up in Detroit, no matter what your obstacles are, you're taught to be tough. You put your head down, especially as a young man. Don't cry.
Yeah.
You figure it out. You dig deep. You figure it out. But writing the book was therapeutic, right? Because I had to really jog down memory lane and go back to my childhood. And a lot of things happened in my childhood, and where I was as a head coach at Eastern Michigan. As I started the writing process, I really couldn't believe it. I kind of put it behind me and just stored it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just kept my head down and I kept working. But as I went back and revisited some of those moments of my childhood, it was deep. So that's how it came up. Every chapter I would say, wow, this was deep. Whether it was a great accomplishment or whether it was something really bad that I had to overcome. So that's where the title came from. It stuck. It was perfect. And it's deep. We're gonna see how I had to dig deep in so many areas of my life, good and bad, to overcome some challenges to get to the apex of where I was trying to go.
Okay, yeah. Well, that is definitely super inspiring. I love it,
Yeah.
And speaking of so many of your accomplishments, right? Like someone could just pull up your Wikipedia and just look through this long list of everything, right? To you, like, what? I mean, maybe it's the film or the book or a team that you coach for. Do you have like any kind of like crowning achievement for you right now?
Yeah, for me, it's been a few. I think where I come from in Detroit, being the first from my family to graduate from high school, and then going to college and graduate from college, that was extremely important. So to get into the professionalism of a career and become a head coach at the high school level, being able to be part of 2 state championship programs and win state championships, and then understand, what my gift was at that time. And my gift was, mentoring because of what my high school coach did for me. Graduating from college and winning those 2 state titles as a high school coach, being one as an assistant at Central High School and then the head coach at Crockett, was unbelievable. And that kind of kicked off my career because I wanted to get into college. So, landing at Kent State was great, phenomenal opportunity, but to be able to get a recommendation to work for a Hall of Fame coach in Jim Boeheim.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And for me, that was my childhood college that I loved. I watched Derek Coleman as a kid when I was in the 7th and 8th grade. He was dominating at the high school level, and he went to Syracuse. I started to follow Syracuse and fell in love with Syracuse. And then once I had an opportunity to work there, I was like living a dream for about 2 years before I really realized, like, wow, I'm here now. Let me settle in and really just believe that this is deserving, because it seemed like a dream to work for a Hall of Fame coach at that time with so much tradition and history. And then becoming a head Division I coach, back in the area in which you grew up at Eastern Michigan, I never could see that growing up. So those few things there are the milestones that, kind of have meant so much to me. And it's just been an incredible ride as I continue to grow in every aspect of my career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it all definitely shows for itself. You know, even being here, you know what I'm saying? It's a testament to
Yeah.
everything that you've accomplished, no,
Yeah.
no doubt.
No, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Eric. And then, another thing I have to mention about the movie, which
Yeah.
is so it's heartfelt and it's gratifying that I'm able to bring and pay homage to characters that are no longer with us, and with me. In
Yep.
particular, my mom,
Yep.
being murdered at 13. That was tough to overcome. And to be honest, nobody can replace your mom. And I still have yet to overcome it. But to bring her to the screen, bring my Uncle Skeeter, bring my grandmother Annie Mae, bring Dion Griffin, just a lot of
Yeah.
folks that I was able to bring to the screen to pay homage and thank them for all they done for me, especially going through my childhood, because those were the toughest times. And I was able to overcome a lot and even get to high school and get to college. And it was those
Yeah.
folks that, through everything they were going through or what I was going through, they really helped me get to where I am today.
Of course, man,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. And you know,
Yeah.
my condolences about your
Oh,
mother as
yeah,
well.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
part of it.
for
But
sure.
thank you.
Yeah, man. And you know, for the film itself, for the production of it, would you know, for you, were there any like major obstacles to overcome, or anything that kind of caught you off guard with like the filmmaking process?
Yeah, well, for me, I wanted perfection. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's my story. And you have many, many characters that play roles in your life. You couldn't get everybody in there, but every scene, I wanted it to be perfection. I wanted every character and every actor to match the character and play that role at a high level. Dennis did an unbelievable job of bringing the character out. But the challenges for me is I wanted everything to be perfect. And I
Right.
learned that that's not part of the process. It may be, a curveball where you have to do something different in a scene. You may have to go to a different location that's better suited for what we're trying to accomplish and get across. I think I wanted a lot more of the character shown. But Dennis made me understand this movie is about Rob Murphy and it's not about everybody around you. We can get
Yeah.
them in, but the main characters and the main thing is the main thing, and that's Rob Murphy. So it was in enjoyment at the end. I mean, obviously, it was some stressful moments getting through it, but the production company and Dennis Reed and DR2, where was the casting, the wardrobe, the lighting, the cameraman, they all did a phenomenal job, and they were able to bring it to the big screen, and I'm excited about that.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, that is one huge perk of like, you know, working with a Detroit production company too. Like if you're trying to make everything as authentic as possible, right? Like the locate, like, you know, the Houston place probably wouldn't be able to, they probably don't have scenery very close to Detroit at all. And
Right.
the cast, like a lot of them probably speak in like, you know, native Detroit, like, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of vernacular. And all that
Exactly.
stuff.
It was all hands on deck. Having it done here,
Yeah.
you were able to be a part of it. I mean, I'm living here. These are my roots. So it being shot in Detroit was extra special. But also, not having to travel and go and be a part of something in another city with a different production company where you really don't know the cast of characters. And even prior to me doing, my movie, I was able to go on set and look at other productions that Dennis was doing. So that's what made it great. I seen 2 or 3 other productions. I got to learn behind the scenes prior to. It wasn't as stressful then until it became my own project, but at the same time, it kind of prepared me to understand and see early on how things go behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And what do you think are going to be people's biggest takeaways, like, as soon as they're finished watching the film?
Yeah, I think it'll be several different takeaways. It's important for me, for the youth to understand that your circumstances and your environment, the big picture, you're able to get out. If you just keep working, stay disciplined and committed, you can execute and, get to any and every dream that you aspire. I think professionally, the growth from position to position, you'll see the different challenges and the growth, so you can take away becoming a leader and how you improve and how you support from the positions of leadership that you're in. Takeaways of family, care, love, drama, how to, be smart with any processes of making sure your circle is extremely tight and you know everything that's going on around you. So it'll be a lot of many different takeaways. I think it's different in every aspect of my life. You'll learn something with every stop. So I'm excited about that, and to hear about what everybody will take away once it's done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so Rob, we have the premiere of Deep on August 20th at Imagine Royal Oak. Can you talk to us a little bit about what people can expect from the premiere?
Yeah, so the premiere is August 20th, as you mentioned. That's a Wednesday. Red carpet starts at 6 p.m. Movie to follow. We're really excited, to bring this premiere, to the Royal Oak Imagine. It'll be on the biggest screen. So we're excited about that. We've been able to get partners and sponsors to help us with this premiere. Part of the proceeds go to the Rob Murphy Foundation, which, I've been giving back probably 11 years now.
Wow.
When I started my foundation 11 years ago. So it's been very important for me to give back to the underserved areas here in Detroit and the surrounding areas. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. And speaking of your foundation, right? What gave you the idea to start it up?
Yeah, so during my Syracuse tenure, Coach Jim Boeheim started the Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation, and they were giving back to the inner city of Syracuse and underserved areas. So I watched them run their foundation at a really, really high level, and I said once I became a head coach, and fortunate and lucky enough for me, I was able to become a head coach back at what I call home, Ypsilanti being 40 minutes away from Detroit. So I wanted to take that same approach and give back to Ypsilanti in the Metro Detroit area, which I've done over the last 11 years. So I'm excited about that. And, part of these proceeds from the movie will go to the foundation, which continues to give me and my team the ability to help the underserved areas.
Okay, that's excellent. And are you partnered with any, when you're talking about returning back stuff to the undeserved communities and stuff? What's that kind of impact look like for you?
Yeah, well, growing up, I had my high school coach that took me up under his wing, right, and gave me vision and direction. He told me, early on in my life and my career, I was a junior in high school, and he came to me and told me, you're not a professional.
Yep.
You're in the streets, you're communicating with the streets and the gangs, and you're communicating with the athletes. You got to pick or choose which direction you want to go. So obviously he steered me toward the athletes and told me how important it was. He said, you go to school, you major in education. I'm going to save my job for you, and you can come back here and you start teaching and coaching. So I took that advice and majored in education. And because of that impact that he made on me, once I got in a position where I started teaching and coaching, I wanted to do the same. So I've been mentoring and coaching since 1998. But then I started my foundation to continue to make even a larger impact. So it's exciting and gratifying.
Wow, that's crazy. So. Yeah, no doubt.
Sure.
So how, you got into coaching was you just, with the education, you became a teacher, and then, a lot of times teachers are also coaches, and that's just how it started.
Yeah, so for me, Coach Venus Jordan, I give him all the credit because he gave me, like I said, the vision and direction to major in education and tell me I was a great communicator. He told me I was a great leader, but I needed to lead in the right direction. So I took his advice and majored in education, and all I wanted to do was to be a teacher and a high school coach. That was my goal in life. And I looked at guys like Perry Watson, Johnny Golston, Harry Hairston, all these great coaches in the city of Detroit, and I just wanted to be the next Perry Watson, to be honest with you. I wanted to dominate high school basketball.
Of course.
But winning early in my career allowed me to build great relationships with college coaches because they would come and recruit players.
Okay, yeah.
You build those relationships, and then you get people buzzing about the next hot young coach in Detroit. My name came up, so I was able to get that opportunity at Kent State.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I always kind of figured that, maybe the high school coaching could be on the harder side, because a lot of these players, they come in maybe not even, you're not specifically selecting them. They're just, students, at high school first? Is that a perspective that you had as well?
No, I'm yeah. Probably it's funny you say that because you're supposed to coach who comes in your building.
Yeah.
But I believed in you had to go recruit if you wanted to win. I understood when I was in high school. I was at Mumford and I went to the neighborhood high school.
Yeah.
But then when you looked at Southwestern, who was dominating, it was players from every area of the city of Detroit and the surrounding areas. So I'm like, wow, all these guys are going way to Southwestern to play for Coach Watson. I never forgot that. So when I became a coach, I knew I wasn't going to coach just the neighborhood kids. At Crockett High School, it really wasn't a neighborhood. So I went out and went to the best 8th grade tournaments that they had for middle school.
Wow.
So I started to get really good 8th graders, and then I pinpointed some guys that weren't playing at other high schools that weren't happy. And I was able to contact them and was able to get a few players and mold them into becoming better players, and that's how we were able to win the state championship at Crockett.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that success was like pretty immediate for you, right?
Immediate. Yeah. I mean, I'm passionate about anything I do. You know, I'm 2 feet in. That quote, "Bloom where you plant it," has always resonated with me. So whatever I'm doing, I'm like 2 feet in, and I'm extremely focused, and I understand how to execute. So I've been able to execute at every level of basketball, and no matter what the challenges that are in your way, you have to have the ultimate belief that it can get done. And even people, say, well, you made a movie. But again, I took that same passion, desire, belief into that. And
the strategy,
this is the outcome.
Yeah,
the strategy. Yeah. So I'm a believer that anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish. It's just you have to make sure that you put a great team around you to be able to help you execute. And just believe. And you work hard and put your head down every single day. Because all I did was work in basketball for years, right? But I was able to do, TV this year, ESPN broadcaster, at the MAC conference and Horizon League conference. And I took that. That was basketball. But then I jumped into the movie scene. Yeah. And I was able to accomplish that. So it's nothing you really can't accomplish. And I think that's my biggest message to the youth, especially the unled and underprivileged that can't see further than their environment. If you can get them to see and believe, and I always wanted to do that through my foundation, and that's another reason it started.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like it's all drive. You know, all drive,
for sure.
And even just the way you think about things, man, it was like crazy.
Yeah, I tell people execution is worshipped. If you can put yourself in position, no matter what you do, at any job you work in, at any task that you're trying to accomplish, just take the necessary steps to put everything in place to get to the execution of it.
For sure.
Yeah, if you do that, you'll be very successful in life, and everybody praises execution. If you become known for delivering and executing, you'll always have an opportunity to have a job or have a great career.
And so, I mean, with your history of execution, right, I'm sure even sometimes, like, well before the season starts, are you like, this is going to be a championship team, like, right now, because of how you've already built up so much of it with the prep and everything? You got this guy, right? Yeah,
so you always have optimism in everything you do. You think, and again, I thank God for my ability to evaluate. So as coaches, we always think we're putting things in place to win, but it's the steps behind the scenes, whether it's on the floor coaching, whether it's film sessions, whether it's putting things in place to motivate players to work when you're not around. And more importantly, making sure that players understand the academic piece and doing what they're supposed to do. Because I tell them the basketball gods always said they're going to bless you if you do the right things on and off the court. So I've had more success than not. And everywhere I've been, I left it a better place. And that's a testament to, obviously myself for putting in hard work, but the team of people that I've always had around me that have supported me and worked at the same pace as me to get to the end goal.
Of course. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Do you have a favorite team that you've coached, or maybe a favorite level of play?
Favorite team that I coached, no team in particular. I go back to high school where it all started.
Yeah.
Coaching at Central High School was great, but I believe Crockett was one of the greatest feats because the school was in a trailer. We didn't have a gym. And in 3 years there, we were able to win a state championship. I was able to recruit players and make them believe that they can come to this school in a trailer of maybe 400 students without a gym, and we can somehow win the state championship. And they believed it, and we did it. And that'll never be forgotten.
That's awesome.
Yeah, never be forgotten.
Doubt.
Yeah.
Do you have any like players of yours that you feel like are particular standouts, both like when you were coaching them or currently?
Yeah, so for me, I always go back to high school. You know, I was very fortunate in my first coaching job to coach Dwight Smith, Antonio Gates, Dante Darling. Those three guys, you know, at that time were some of the premier players in Detroit. They got me and Coach Telfair off to a great start. We was able to win a Class A state championship. I've continued to obviously mentor those guys, but I had a close relationship with Antonio Gates, and he's on his way to the Hall of Fame, you know, at the end of this month. So just to see his career unfold and continue to go at the highest level. And then another player in Maurice Ager. When you go to Crockett, you have to get somebody to believe in you. I talked about, you know, how I built that program, but he was a kid that was on JV at Southfield High School. He was unhappy. And I knew his cousin Rico, and he told me about him. I went to see him, and he transferred to Crockett, and he, you know, took us to another state title. He became a top 30 player in the country. He went on to Michigan State to graduate, and he was drafted into the NBA. So those two players in particular kind of catapulted my career, and I can never thank them for what they did for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And do you have any plans, like, you know, because you've, you know, kind of crushed everything that's been put in front of you so far. Do you have any plans for, you know, what could be after Beep?
You know what? I'm just living in the moment, to be honest with you. I don't know what the higher power, you know, have in my path, because I think everybody has a journey. The higher power know where I'll be 2 years from now. I have no idea. Just like I had no idea I would be sitting with you 2 months ago. That's just how life works. So I'm just taking it one day at a time and continuing to, you know, remain in basketball, around basketball, continuing to build relationships. I have so much more left in me. And I've had, you know, some opportunities presented to me, but haven't found the great one yet that I think would be my next step. So I'm just waiting and being patient to see what that'll be.
Sure. So you think the best, you know, could be yet to come?
Oh, yeah. This is like, man, I got another 50 years on this earth.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm going to live a long time. God willing. But I make sure I take care of myself. Nothing is more important than my two children, Ryan and RJ.
Love it.
Starting at Michigan in the fall, my son, Robert Murphy II, and then my daughter will be a sophomore in high school, Ryan Murphy, and she's one of the top lacrosse athletes in the country for women. So I'm excited about their progression and what they're doing, and once they continue to get off and do what they're supposed to do, then it becomes more back to me. But I'm excited where I'm headed, and I'm excited about everything positive that's going on.
That's awesome. I love it. And as a lifelong Detroiter, right, how would you describe your feelings towards the transformation the city has had over your lifetime? Yeah,
it's been incredible. I think 15 years ago, you really couldn't walk downtown Detroit, you know. Prior to that, back in the, I want to say, late 70s and early 80s, it was pretty good, and then it kind of went away. But I think having all the professional sports teams downtown brings a lot of excitement. I think the continued, you know, architecture and the vision of, you know, people investing in Detroit has been really good. So just to be able to walk downtown in a family atmosphere, and then with so many events going on, for us to enjoy it is a wonderful thing. And then you talk about Detroit, I have to bring up the talent that we have in Detroit. It's a lot of people that, you know, put their stamp on downtown in the Detroit area. But now I'm talking about the talent of whether it's athletes, and then you talk about the actors in this movie. I'm starting with Hugh Hefner. Did an unbelievable job playing me as an adult. Lil Blade was unbelievable playing my teenage years into my young adult years. Angel Spites, A-Red, she was unbelievable bringing my mother to the screen. And we had a host of other cast members that deserve credit, but it's a lot of talented actors and actresses here, and I enjoyed working with them behind the scenes and getting them to bring out the characters, along with Dennis Reed being a director, and me being an executive producer on the film was something that I never thought I would do, but very fortunate to be a part of.
Yeah, man, that is awesome, and you're totally right. I mean, people are saying like Detroit's like the only city with all 4 major sports teams there, and they're all on a meteoric rise.
Yeah, for sure. All 4 of them are great, but I don't even leave out the G League team in the Motor City Cruise. That meant a lot to me, being the president and GM of the Motor City Cruise. Seeing that whole franchise, get off the ground, and now you have the Detroit Amps. That was, led by Game Above and Keith Stone, who's a Eastern Michigan guy, who I know really, really well. Unbelievable businessman, unbelievable supporter of, the students, athletes at Eastern Michigan, and also bringing the Detroit Amps here and having George Gervin, who's from Detroit, be a part of it. So it's a lot of great things going on. So we got 6 professional teams here, and they're all helping Detroit thrive.
No doubt. And I do have to ask, like, what was it like, being GM of the Motor City Cruise? I mean, how different was it from your coaching background?
Well, it was a challenge because it was something that I never did. But as I mentioned earlier, you put 2 feet to the ground. And again, it's about having great people around you. At that time, it was, Troy Weaver obviously was the general manager, Mike Zabosky, who was a great business mind that was on the business side for the Pistons. Between the 2 of those guys, they helped me every step of the way. But with that being said, raising money, selling tickets is one aspect of the job that I had to do, because that's the president side of it. And then being the GM, that's hiring the coach and putting a roster together. I've been a talent evaluator, pretty much my whole life. And even before working in the NBA, I always kept my eye on the NBA by going to training camps every year, by going to summer league, watching the highest level of basketball. It was for me to get better and all what I can bring back to my team at Eastern and when I was at Syracuse. But it also put me in position to do that job at a high level. So it was exciting to bring a new professional, franchise here. And in the first year, we went to the playoffs. We raised really good money, and it was a lot of positive buzz. And they've continued to be successful moving forward.
Love it.
Yeah.
And is there any reason why you think it's been, basketball your whole life, like, as a player to coach to GM, president to even the movie has a lot of basketball, like, themes incorporated?
Yeah, I just always loved the game. I fell in love with it. I was an all-state football player.
Wow.
I led the city of Detroit my senior year at Mumford High School in interceptions.
Wow.
And we were playing against high-level pros at that time. I was recruited by every MAC school. I took an official visit to Eastern and Central Michigan. Michigan came to watch me. Tennessee came to watch me. But I just fell in love with basketball. I wanted to play basketball. I was regretting it as I was playing Division II basketball in college a little bit, because I thought I had a chance to go to the NFL had I pursued football.
Sure.
But you follow your passion, and basketball was my passion. And once I, graduated from college and started coaching, started winning state championships and building these relationships, that's when I knew I took the right route and I followed my passion and what I love to do. And it all kind of worked out from there.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. Well, all right, Rob, I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping up the interview. Do you got any kind of final message that you like to put out there?
August 20th. That's a Wednesday, 6 p.m., Royal Oak Imagine Theater. It's going to be an unbelievable movie, and I can't wait for everybody to see it, Eric.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's get it.